Protein. It's known as a building block, one of the most important building blocks in the body. It's essential for life. Bodybuilders and strength athletes swear by it. Any eating plan includes it. Yet there are few other well-known nutrients that have so much confusion continually swirling about them. For example, there are different types of protein. Which ones are the best, and what is the best way to take them? Is there a right time to take them? How much protein can you absorb at one time? What are complete proteins? How do they differ from incomplete proteins? Does protein help to burn more calories than fats or carbohydrates and help with weight loss? If so, why? How much protein is recommended on a daily basis? Can you consume too much protein or too little? These are the most common questions concerning protein. The good news is that the answers are not too complicated, even though at first glance they seem to be. To get going, the first question is, what is protein? The scientific definition of protein is any of a class of nitrogenous organic compounds that consist of large molecules composed of one or more long chains of amino acids and are an essential part of all living organisms, especially as structural components of body tissues such as muscle, hair, collagen, etc., and as enzymes and antibodies. Bodybuilders have a far simpler definition. The more protein you intake, the more you'll grow. Protein is something bodybuilders take seriously, very seriously. Vegetarians have a different take on protein. They are often asked where they get their protein, and their answer is usually along the lines of, humans don't require as much protein as commonly thought, and what we do need is easy to get from vegetables, especially greens, nuts, soy, beans, and grains. Both these groups, and everyone else, require protein for building and repairing our tissues, giving us strength and energy, assisting in digestion, and a wide array of other vital bodily functions. So there is universal agreement that at least some amount of protein is required for good health. Now the question is how to get it. Beef, wild game, bison, venison, pork, seafood, eggs, milk, cottage cheese, Swiss cheese, poultry, turkey and chicken, peanut butter, lentils, nuts and seeds, vegetables, spinach, peas, quinoa, amaranth, and soy are all sources of protein derived from food. Additionally, many athletes and fitness buffs feed their need for additional protein through supplemental protein powders taken in the form of shakes. Total proteins consist of all the essential amino acids that the body requires on a daily basis. Incomplete proteins contain only some of the critical amino acids. Protein derived from animals, meat, fish, and dairy is considered complete protein. Individual plant and grain-based proteins, quinoa, amaranth, and soy, are considered complete. Other plant-based proteins are considered incomplete since they provide us with some, but not all, essential amino acids. However, for vegetarians, all is not lost. By combining certain incomplete proteins, for example, rice and beans, or peanut butter and whole grain bread, they can consume complete proteins that are meatless and dairy-free. There are three general types or forms of protein: whey, casein, milk, and soy. There are also isolates, quicker absorbing proteins, egg protein, and hydrolysate, highly absorbable peptides. We will discuss all protein types in the section When to Consume Protein. But the first three mentioned are what we will mainly be concerned with. Keep these in mind, their different rates of absorption are significant. Recent studies have confirmed that protein can indeed speed up weight loss in both men and women, at least twice as fast. How could this be? The reason is not all that complicated. The key is the thermic effect of food, TEF. In plain English, this means the number of calories needed to digest and process food. To put it another way, TEF measures how much energy is used up in the process of metabolizing what we eat. Here's the key. Fat is the lowest nutrient on the thermal burn scale. The body only uses 5 calories to metabolize 100 grams of fat. Carbohydrates are next up on the scale. Our body expends 15 calories to metabolize 100 carb calories. Protein, however, is off the chart. It requires a whopping 35 calories for every 100 calories of protein intake for metabolism. This is why diets that are high fat and high carb spell disaster. Let's reduce these numbers to percentages and fractions. Protein burns up more than twice the amount of carbs and a mind-blowing 7 times the number of fats. This is why protein is a calorie incinerating furnace. When your diet is loaded with protein, you can consume extra calories on the house. Here's an example. Assume that your daily calorie intake is 2,000 and 1,000 of those calories are derived from protein. In effect, since your body has to burn 350 calories to metabolize the 1,000 grams of protein, your total calorie intake is almost magically reduced to 1,650. Protein is the king of thermogenesis, i.e., fat burning. This is a question that seems to pop up continually. Bodybuilders have long insisted that there is a limit as to how much protein can go to work to build muscle immediately after consumption. Some studies claim that 30 grams were the limit, while others said 40 and still others said 50. Since conventional bodybuilding knowledge is that more is better in everything, including protein intake, many bodybuilders are told to consume 300 to 400 grams of protein daily. Even with a 50-gram upper limit, that's 8 to 10 meals, and protein shakes daily. For the overwhelming majority of people, this is difficult if not impossible to accomplish. However, as usual, things are not that clear-cut. For one thing, muscle building is not protein's only function. Protein breaks down into amino acids, which then build hormones, enzymes, strengthen our immune systems, and move and store molecules. These activities occur at different times. This calls into question the several protein meals a day requirement. Also, even among bodybuilders, there is no agreed-upon consensus. Most agree that you need to experiment and monitor the results. There is a host of additional factors involved in protein absorption: age, activity level, your musculature, and your level of hormones, especially IGF-1. If all of this weren't confusing enough, the type of protein you ingest enters into the equation. Whey protein is absorbed in approximately 8 to 10 grams per hour. Casein has an absorption rate of 6.1 grams per hour, soy is 3.9 grams per hour, and a cooked egg is 2.9 grams per hour. The thing to remember is that the type of protein you're taking figures into the absorption rate.